Good news for people who want to keep the internet free and open. Today, a federal appeals court upheld the FCC net neutrality rules, ensuring that providers cannot throttle internet connection speeds and that they should be continued to be classed as common carriers. Now, in the 2-1 ruling from the U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit, reports The Hill, the court denied petitions from a number of internet service providers and trade groups to strike down the strongest internet service regulations ever written. The decision is a major win for the FCC and the millions of open internet advocates who pressured the agency to adopt these rules that regulate the conduct of companies that provide internet service. FCC Chairman Tom Wheeler said in a statement, quote, "Today's ruling is a victory for consumers and innovators who deserve unfettered access to the entire web, and it ensures the internet remains a platform for unparalleled innovation, free expression, and economic growth." Now, of course, since the rules passed last year, Republicans and the telecom companies that fund them have challenged those rules. They don't like these rules. They don't like that they can't rip people off now. And they've launched a number of challenges. One of them being from former Republican candidate Ted Cruz. Now, what did Ted Cruz call net neutrality? He called it the Obamacare of the internet. Oh boy. Yes, making sure that we cannot throttle the internet for more money, essentially extortion money, is terrible. I mean, think of the poor corporations. Think of the corporations. How are they ever going to make money if they cannot extort you for faster internet speeds? I mean, that's essentially what it would do. If you didn't have net neutrality rules, you could have these internet companies, these ISPs, set up a fast lane and a slow lane. That fast lane, it's really just the normal lane. And the other lane, they'd throttle back the speeds and say, well, I'm sorry, you got to give me an extra $29.99 a month to go to the fast lane. Yeah. Extortion. It's like highwaymen, right? Now, how are they ever going to make money now the court has said you can't do that? Oh, right, by having giant monopolies. That's still a problem when in the cable industry. We have two cable providers. That's it. Comcast, which is awful, and Charter, which is still awful but not quite as bad as Comcast. But look, let's look at the positive, shall we? This is a victory. And in the end, the court concluded that the FCC had the authority to change the classification of internet service providers because the underlying laws give the agency room to decide, and that a previous court case provided the roadmap to make this change. This, in our view, wrote two of the judges that were in favor of net neutrality rules, represents a perfectly good reason for the Commission's change in position. Now, these rules, that are pretty broad, that regulate companies that provide both home and mobile internet service, preventing them from blocking, slowing, or creating fast lanes for websites or apps willing to pay extra. The rules were branded as protections for customers and web companies, because that's exactly what they are. I know that if I had to pay to have my YouTube videos load as fast as someone else who had a bigger company, more staff, and, well, actually having money, I couldn't afford to do it. Well, a company like CNN, they could buy into the fast lane and actually have their content loaded faster and be more efficient. Now, I wonder who that would benefit. Being able to access somebody's content faster would definitely benefit them. If I have a slow stream or slow video loading times, well, you're going to click away. Who does that benefit? Look, I'm not saying that I get more views than CNN, at least not yet. But if that happened, if we had no net neutrality rules, I'd never be able to catch up. So, while this is good, the companies that brought the lawsuit vowed to continue their fight all the way to the Supreme Court. Quote, this is from AT&T General Counsel David McAtee. We have always expected this issue to be decided by the Supreme Court, and we look forward to participating in that appeal. Oh boy. Now, with the court currently at 4 liberal justices versus 4 conservative justices, depending on who wins in November, we could see net neutrality seriously affected. It could either be here or not. And for someone who values the internet and uses it every day and even tries to make a living on it, let's just say I'm pretty invested in keeping those rules. So if it does go to the Supreme Court, if it does get accepted into the court, and we end up getting and we're going to get a new justice one way or the other, I'd rather it be one who's in favor of net neutrality rules, so that a lot of people, a lot of small companies, a lot of internet companies don't have to worry about throttling, as well as consumers who can't afford to pay that extortion price